You know, let me compliment you on your lid, as in hat, because it reminds me of Big Al Tambolini. It is hanging in my gym, his hat, and it's, I don't know, very comforting. Thank you. Hey, listen, speaking of comfort, these hot dog shop cups, they give me a lot of comfort. I have all of them at my house, and I talk to them every night. Tony Dorsett, it's the truth. Tony Dorsett, absolutely love. And, of course, Danny Raines. Let's talk about Danny Raines, because Tony's always got top billing. We'll get to him in a moment. Danny Raines, McCarles, obviously, for a number of years.
Absolutely.
Cincinnati, what a great athlete. Super Bowl champion, 1985 with the Bears. Talk about Danny Raines. We both know him.
Danny's just, the way he became an NFL player is just, people don't give him enough credit. I mean, they really don't. And the nice thing about Danny is, I mean, he'll talk about those days, but he doesn't flaunt. You know what I mean? He's just as personable as anyone off the streets. I mean, he's an NFL guy.
He is.
And
great family, hard-working family.
Absolutely, no doubt.
And I remember him one night when I had a career many years ago. We were filming for Rhino, and he was there, and he told me a story about his dad, and his dad was passing. And I literally started to cry. I mean, just emotional, loved his family, went to Hopewell High School. I mean, he's one of us.
Yeah, and he's talked with me on many occasions about football and about, you know, kids in general that we were recruiting from Hopewell. Just, and he gave a lot and gives a lot back to that community. Now, the guy on the other side,
yes,
I got to tell you a story about him.
Tony Dorsett.
We're playing Trinity International. It's in 1994. Leslie Frazier from the Chicago Bears that Danny played with, okay, is giving the pregame talk to our kids.
Nice.
No.
The opposition.
It's in the opposition.
Wait a minute.
So, yeah.
Time out.
So, he's in the other locker room because, you know, him and Frazier and Danny, they're NFL guys. I'm not a Division III NAI coach. You know, I'm just a tomato from New Brighton. And Dorsett's given the pregame speech to that. So he walks out on the field, and I just went to see him. I said, you know, you did some nice things on this field back when you were at Hopewell. I said, well, wait till you get a load of my number 32 here. It was Willie Murray from New Brighton.
Ooh, nice.
And he ran all over him, and we beat them.
Listen, let's finish up with the season and talk about some wonderful awards, President's Athletic Conference, and we're going to come back. By the way, his lovely bride, Cheryl, the mother of the beautiful 4 daughters, that she really is the brain trust behind.
She's the brain trust.
That's okay.
I mean, they all look like her. I grew up nothing.
Let me just say this, and you know I love the DeMarco family, New Brighton Christian Assembly, the pre-holiday service coming up Tuesday, so hopefully you all go and see what Brother Sam has in store, which is pretty incredible stuff. But the 4 daughters that you have are pure class. And that DNA, your wife's family, your family, it's a good thing to witness. I like being around those kids. Rachel, Grace, they're good kids.
Tremendous kids. Yeah, they get it all from their mother.
Now, see, I was uplifting, and now we have to go back. You lost the lead against Westminster in the third. What'd you do?
Well, we've had a propensity to not finish.
Please don't use big words. I'm tired.
I think that means that you know, we had a lot of young kids, and I'll tell you what, we are in one heck of a football league. The Westminster football team would win the conference in probably 15 other leagues in Division III.
All right, Titans cut the lead in half in the third, then a 13-point fourth quarter, 20-14. The final, Trey Marshall, 115 yards, 23 carries. Stafford, 102 yards, 27 carries. Shively, 11 tackles. Talk about the President Athletic Conference postseason awards. Trey Marshall, first team all-conference, led the conference 152 yards per game for the 8th spot in the country. And you've got Shively, who led the conference with 9.6 tackles a game and had 4 interceptions, named second team all-conference selection. Go right ahead. Talk about those two, then I'm going to let you talk about your honorable mention. And you also had a gentleman, Colin Hendrick, who was selected to the sportsmanship team.
Yeah, we had a right tackle, too, named Lucas Stepp from Virginia that was a first-team kid. So that was good. But let's face it, Trey doesn't get hurt against Carnegie Mellon. He may end up being an All-American. I mean, the kid was averaging 200 yards a game, and we were clicking as an offense. And what he did in the last 4 games as far as playing injured, not too many people knew. Joe Shively is a first-team all-conference player. I don't care how the coaches voted.
Okay, so I didn't screw that up. That
no,
actually,
you did.
Okay.
He ended up second team. Okay, he led
every week.
He led the conference in tackles as a free safety, and it was second in interceptions. So I mean, I'm going to give him a plaque that says second team, and then I'm going to give him something else that says first team. But the other kids that made it, we had 6 other kids make honorable mention. Our quarterback, Ron Stafford, did a super job. We've been running this offense for 2 years, and this kid bought into it, and along with Chris Corrado, we had some local guys that did very, very well. Like we talked about Joey's from Central Valley, and we talked about Trey being from Quaker Valley. Well, Terrence Salas from Moon was an honorable mention.
Hogue from Freedom.
And Jared Hogue from Freedom. I mean, these kids just had outstanding years. Nick Montfleone's a young man from East Palestine that was named as an honorable mention as far as a returner. And Colin Kendrick, who was a 2-year starter for us, and just a consummate student athlete. He's the kind of kid that you want your daughter to marry. Listen, he was selected for sportsmanship.
Here's what, and listen, I'm a homer. I love Beaver County, but I got this thing going for Eastern Ohio too, and they've got a hot dog shop, Brighton Hot Dog Shop in Salem. But what I love that you do, and we were just talking about a few of the schools here, but that Tri-County League, the Lisbon, Latonia, Crestview, Southern Local. Thank you for letting a lot of these kids have an opportunity to come from Eastern Ohio to play football here, because it's a wonderful opportunity. And a lot of times, because strategically where they're at, they kind of get overlooked. So
they do
nice.
get overlooked. They get overlooked, and Rob, we go back to the WEOA days.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we were there. I mean, a lot of our great players in the NAI days came from Ohio, and a lot of our kids that we have right now that are making impact. Our quarterback next year is a young man from Lisbon, Colin Sweeney. Remember that name. Well,
I must thank Dan Bing and John Rambo for many years, because without them, I wouldn't have been able to put all those games together.
You did an unbelievable job, and for
us,
and
Jeff Hathorne and PJ Command,
yes.
All those guys.
If it wasn't for ELA, I mean, at that time, and I'll tell you what, BVP's been
wonderful. Bob Bergman, he's a superstar, and that's the truth. He's the best there ever was. But although Shublin was pretty good too.
Yeah.
And so is Bill Fontana, or I won't get a Christmas card.
You're right, absolutely.
All right,
Chris was good, really good. He's a Westminster guy, that's why he was good. He wasn't great. Okay.
But Bob Bergman, he is tremendous. I mean, he's the prototype. But play-by-play.
ELA was,
and nobody worked harder. Selling advertising
than you.
But
you know what? And then we let me go on, and we did high school football games together.
I know we did.
That was so much fun.
It was. And we also had an opportunity to give these kids a chance. And you're going to keep doing that. And you're going to be with me every week here talking Steelers, talking Pitt, talking whatever. But it is really nice to see that you give these kids a chance. Okay, now, real quick, I just want to give a shout out to one of your former coaches, and we're going to take a break and come back. It's Class 2A semifinal time this week, and Mr. Shiro, Coach Shiro, in Riverside, Steel Valley, assisted you for a while. His son was quarterback with you. I hope he gets to the WPI championship.
Yeah, the greatest of all time, Ronnie Shiro.
And
I hope he does. I really do.
All the great high school coaches in Western Pennsylvania. My mythical list, my #1 high school coach in the history of Beaver County, could have been Larry Bruno. I mean, it could have been. It could have been Pat Tarquinio. It could have been Joe Hamilton, but it was Carl Flory.
He kind of flies under the radar.
He was a great coach.
Oh, no doubt.
Great coach. In fact, I heard Belichick actually calls him once in a while for a little advice.
Sure.
Anyway, we're going to come.
Especially with a quarter left.
Final
like Brady. Carl never threw the ball.
No.
Yeah, he would. I don't think Belichick. He called him probably about defense.
But do you realize what Ronnie Shiro has done here?
Yeah.
I mean, this is listen, I went through the whole list of these games, and I'm going to do it real quick now because you put me out there on the limb.
Yeah.
But this is what you got happening. WPI championship games at Heinz Field this week. Class 3A Quaker Valley, 11-1 Aliquippa. Goats Mianic 12-0, and that, of course, is an 11 rematch of those two teams. Played great football earlier in the year. Class 6A Central Catholic 10-2 versus Pine Bushland 12-0 at 2 p.m. Class 5A Gateway 11-1 Penn Trafford, and I know Dr. Wisniewski, a good friend of mine, is a big fan of them because he got some family in the game. So good luck to them. Yeah. Class 4A Thomas Jefferson, Coach Bill Cherpek 10-1, and that, of course, Montour 9-2. But you got Class 2A semifinal Washington Cardinal World North Catholic having a another great year. Class 1A semifinal, California and Imani Christian. Class 2A semifinal, Clairton and Jeanette. But I can't help but mention Ronnie Shiro, because what he did, he put Riverside back where they belong, and he just went there after years of being away from the game and picked up where he left off.
He has an uncanny way of being able to connect with his players. He did it at Geneva.
Like you.
I mean, well, he does it. And to give you an idea, that Monday, now he'll probably scream at me for saying this, but that Monday, when the Whippeals, they meet in Green Tree to find out who you're going to play, we were recruiting at Riverside, and he told me he cooks for the entire team. I mean, Ronnie's probably one of the best cooks in Beaver County.
I know.
But we ate great when he was our quarterback.
And by the way, the 2A, 1A championship game is November 25th at Joe Walton Stadium on the campus of Robert Morris. We'll be back in a moment. Stay with us. We're at the Brighton Hot Dog Shop in Vanport.